Welcome to the next edition of the JMM Expert Insights Series. Joining us here today is Simon Finnis, Managing Director of McLaren Minerals. Simon, great to have you here.
Thanks. Good to be here. Thanks, Joan.
Look, just to start, can you give the viewers a bit of a brief overview of McLaren Minerals and perhaps your flagship project?
Sure. So McLaren Minerals' flagship project is the McLaren project. So it's very easy for everyone to remember. It's a mineral sands project, significant in size, about 280 million tonnes in resource at a 4.8% heavy mineral grade. Located in WA, around about 350 kilometres by road from the Port of Esperance. So very handy, but also sort of in the middle of nowhere, which is a great place for a mine to be. But look, it's a lovely little mineral sands project. We're currently working through the PFS and lots of news flow on the way.
Look, absolutely. And of course, you've just completed phase one of the drill program. Can you tell us a little bit more about the operational and geological takeaways from that program?
Yeah, look, we certainly learnt a lot about the project and about the geological deposition. So that's really good because we only acquired the project last year, so it was a little bit of a black box. Certainly, we were very fortunate that we bumped into a lot of water while we were drilling some of these holes. So, from a PFS perspective, clearly you do need some. So that was great. Saline, but that won't bother us from a processing perspective. And look, obviously, we saw lots and lots of mineral assays pending very, very soon, and hopefully that supports the geological interpretation that we made during that program.
Well, just on that as well, then. So, standout results were north, central, and southern zone extensions. What does this mean for the upcoming resources work that you spoke about a little bit earlier?
Yeah, look, it's pretty exciting. We did expect to see more to the north, but we hadn't expected the other extension, so that's really, really helpful. Obviously, again, we're pre-assays here, but we're pretty confident that we've seen mineral in the pan, so we believe it'll be there. And look, when those assays get to the consultant that's doing the resource for us, what we're hoping, of course, is that the indicated portion of the resource grows, and that is the portion that we can technically turn into a sort of a conceptual mine plan and from a PFS basis. And then we also expect that the inferred resource and the total resource will grow. So, we've got a 280 million tonne resource. That's already significant. Once that gets bigger and bigger, people should start to take notice.
And of course, you've just raised capital in an oversubscribed placement, which is great. Can you tell us what that capital is going to be used for?
Yeah, sure. Look, obviously, first and foremost, we just got to finish this PFS. It's gone on longer than I expected, but everything's coming back as we anticipated, so it's fantastic. And then we'll go into the planning phase for the bankable. Clearly, I'm anticipating that the PFS is good from that statement. But then, that'll take us a long way into the bankable feasibility study, and from there, the normal processes of pre-development.
And Simon, you've obviously got the McLaren titanium project. How does that fit into the broader market for critical minerals?
So this is really an ilmenite project, so it's a titanium dioxide project. So it really goes into the manufacture of pigment, and pigment is used in everyday life, plastics, paper, anything that needs to hold colour. It's the white, so you can attach colour to that, but it's also opaque, so you can't see through it. So it's a fantastic product, essential, growing market, and clearly one of those minerals that we can't do without.
Absolutely. You've obviously spoken about the area and where you're located. Talk to us through how you're approaching the community and operational aspects of this project.
Yeah, look, it is in the middle of nowhere. We're lucky that 40 kilometres to the east of the project we have the Balladonia Roadhouse, so it's very easy at this phase for places to stay, to buy fuel, to do all those sorts of things. There's an airstrip there, so certainly we'll be using that, taking use of that in the next period as well. We are using local earth moving groups, we're using local transport companies, and we're using local drilling companies. So it's actually pretty good, and we've got a great relationship with the native title or the traditional owners. So yeah, fantastic, really, that they're supporting this project. They're mostly based in Norseman, so very accessible and look, really supportive.
And Simon, there's been a lot of activity on the ground for the project. You've recently announced some test work results. What's the significance of these results?
And this is where we get a little bit technical, but I'll explain it in simple terms because I'm a simple person. But the slimes in a mineral sand sense are really just fine particles. So what's different between mineral sands and other mining projects is that really don't process anything. We just separate things. So what we're trying to do is separate the individual grains of sand into the correct pile. So if it's ilmenite, it goes in the ilmenite pile, etc. And the slimes can actually disturb that processing process. So you've got to remove the slimes up front, and then of course at the back end you've got to still redeposit those slimes back in the void where you've taken them from. And we're lucky enough that this test work proved that one, we can take the slime out at the start, we can thicken that slime and pump it. And then secondly, it actually can be co-disposed with the tails back in the void. And look, it's all very well understood. We do that in mineral sands all the time. So it's good to see that this project that was a key risk. So we're hoping that flows through to people's confidence in the project.
Absolutely. It all seems to be stacking up, which is great. So just to reiterate, major milestones investors should be looking out for.
Waiting for assays, desperately waiting for assays. When we get those, we'll obviously make a song and dance about that. That will lead to a mineral resource update, and then we can finish the feasibility study. We're in the final phases now of the engineering, so we have a flow sheet and a design we're happy with. We're now out costing that from a capital point of view. We've done a lot of work on the operating costs. The test work we just completed helps us with our reagent usage, flocculant usage. We've got a study already on how much electricity we need to generate. We've got prices for that from a Greco, which is a very prominent provider of power generation. So we're pretty comfortable, but we just need those assays. We need that mineral resource estimate, and then we'll start publishing some numbers.
Well, very exciting times ahead. I want to thank you for your time today.
Great. Thanks, Jane.